What is up, guys? Tommy from SoFlo Jeeping here, and I am in the process right now of doing a 1-ton swap on my 2015 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. So one question that a lot of people tend to ask when it comes to Jeeps is, should you get a Sport or should you get a Rubicon? Now, always the argument for getting a Sport over a Rubicon is if you're going to replace axles, if you're going to replace wheels and tires, if you're going to replace bumpers, what's the point in buying a Rubicon? Just buy Sport, then do all that stuff yourself. So in theory, my JK Rubicon that I'm doing an axle swap on, I've replaced most of the Rubicon stuff other than the transfer case, which honestly in a few years I see myself moving to an Atlas. My Jeep would be the perfect candidate or example for those people that say don't buy a Rubicon. So the question is, do I regret buying a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon? And the short answer is absolutely not. So there's a couple reasons for that. The first reason was, if you're buying used, the difference, honestly, it isn't worth it not to buy a Rubicon. I bought mine used. I looked at the difference between buying a Sport or Sahara compared to my Rubicon at the same miles. I was able to get a really good deal on this Rubicon, and financially it made sense to go with the Rubicon. Even if I did have to spend a little more on the Rubicon, I still wouldn't have regretted it. Here's why. All these people that say, oh, I'm just going to do a 1-ton swap, I'm just going to get a Sport and I'll do that down the road. Like, we all can say what we want, but the truth is, once we have a functioning vehicle, we're not going to want to take the downtime for a little while, and sometimes you have to create... And 1-ton swap isn't cheap. Most people have to build up funds for a little while to be able to do this swap. With the Rubicon for, let's see, I've owned this Jeep 3 years now, and I'm just now getting around to doing an axle swap. For the last 3 years, I've had an extremely capable Jeep that had lockers, that had the transfer case, that I could pretty much put 37s on, have a turnkey capable vehicle that I could enjoy for the last 3 years, instead of having a Sport and having to suffer with open differentials and whatnot. Not to mention, when it comes time to do that swap, when it comes time to switch those axles, the Sport and Sahara parts, they're not worth anything. They don't fetch anywhere near the money the Rubicon parts bring in. A huge chunk of how I was able to afford to do this axle swap was because I sold my Rubicon axles. Now, Rubicon axles, I mean, going from stock to fully built, will go from between anywhere from 3 for a bone stock one to 6 for a built one with RCVs. $6,000 gets you pretty dang close to putting some junkyard axles underneath your Jeep. Even $3,000 takes a huge weight off your shoulders. If you had a Sport or a Sahara, you're not going to sell the Dana 30 and the standard unlocked Dana 44 for a whole lot of money. So it's going to become a lot more expensive. And then you still have that 2.7 to 1 transfer case. Most people who do this swap aren't going to go in Atlas. Usually it's their daily driver, and Atlases are crazy expensive. I'm going to do the swap, and I'll still have a 4-to-1 transfer case inside the Jeep that, I mean, for the near future, I don't see myself replacing, till eventually I would like to be able to do a front dig, etc., and I will go to an Atlas eventually. But for now, this 4-to-1 is going to do an amazing job, and it has been doing an amazing job. And even for a while, I had the 410 gearing, and I was running 410s. I was running the stock gearing on 37s without having to re-gear. And I did that for a while in off-road because of that 4-to-1 transfer case. I honestly didn't feel the need to re-gear. I re-geared it pretty much purely for on-road driving, because the 4-to-1 made it just that much lower and I didn't need it. And back to the same case, when I go to put that Atlas, I can sell that 4-to-1 for a good amount of money, where that 2.7-to-1 wouldn't be worth anything. Now, say you are one of those people that, yeah, you're just going to buy it and you're going to immediately put axles. You're not going to drive it at all on the stock axles, you're going to immediately put 1-tons on it. Then my suggestion for you would be not to buy a Jeep with that 1-tons. If you want a Jeep on tons that soon and that quick, you're going to be way better off financially buying a Jeep that already has tons on it. And there's no shame in that. I mean, the black Jeep you see back there, that Jeep was bought on 1-tons. And the amount of money you're going to spend doing an axle swap, and if you're doing that immediately swap right when you buy it, no downtime, there's a good chance you're doing crate axles. You're looking between 15 and 20 grand And that's if you do everything yourself and everything goes well. So yeah, if you're going to do that route, just buy a Jeep that's already on tons. Save yourself a ton of money. But if you're going to have a Jeep for a little while, you know you're going to do an axle swap eventually, but you still want to have a solid, capable vehicle, I'd really recommend just getting the Rubicon, honestly. So, and not to mention, if you are going to slowly build up a lot, putting money into the Rubicon axles, like rig gear, trusses, I'm not going to lie to you and say you'll get that all back, but you're not just throwing money away into a dumpster like you would building a Dana 30. So would I recommend buying a Rubicon, even if you know you're going to do all that stuff? Absolutely. I don't regret buying a Rubicon for a second. It's been a ton of fun having a super capable rig. And even now that I've gone through pretty much all of the Rubicon stuff, and they're pretty much all going out at some point, I still don't regret for a second buying this Rubicon, and I recommend you guys look into Rubicons too if you're looking to buy a new Jeep. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully I'll have some more wheeling videos for you guys soon, but as you can see, the Jeep is still in a hover, sorry for the shake cam. Jeep is still hover Jeep status. I've got the tarp on there just so all the grinding dust doesn't land on the hood and ruin my paint, essentially. And been grinding away at that. 05 plus Dana 60. Tons of grinding. Those radius arm mounts are terrible. And then hopefully grinding down the 14 bolt goes a little smoother, and then getting sent out to do welding and re-gear. And hopefully we should have a running Jeep in the next 15-20 days. Fingers crossed.